So children, before we start with the class, let us see the pledge. Place your right hand on your heart and please repeat, I, Shruti Narayan, commit to be vigilant and bear in mind at all times the risk to myself and my colleagues from COVID-19. I promise to take all necessary precautions that prevent the spread of this deadly virus. I promise to follow and encourage others to follow the key COVID appropriate behaviors. To always wear a mask, face cover, especially when in public places, to maintain a minimum distance of 6 feet from others, to wash my hands frequently and thoroughly with soap and water. Together, we will win this fight against COVID-19. In today's class, children, we'll study the next type of winds, that is the local winds. The local winds are restricted to a certain place only. They may be warm or cold depending upon the area from where they blow. The local winds affect limited areas and blow for short periods of time. The local winds develop as a result of local differences in temperature and pressure. And as I told you, they affect small areas and are restricted to the lowest levels of the troposphere. In this slide, you can see the different local winds of the world. So, just to tell you about some local winds around the world, Chinook, a warm dry wind that blows down the eastern slopes of the Rocky Mountains of North America. Sirocco, a hot, usually springtime wind blowing from the Sahara in Africa to the Mediterranean coasts. In Egypt, this type of wind is known as Khamsin. Fohn, a hot dry wind which blows down the leeward slope of a mountain. This is the best known in the valleys of Northern Alps of Switzerland. Pampero, a dry, bitterly cold wind that sweeps the pampas of South America. Loom, a hot wind which blows usually in the afternoon in the plains of northern India during May and June. The Brickfielder, a hot, dusty wind blowing south from central Australia. Mistral, a cold, dry wind that blows along the coast of Spain and France. So these are some important local winds of the world. Now let us study about Loom, the local wind which blows in our country, and every year we experience it. It is a very hot and dry wind which blows in the plains of northern India in the months of May and June, usually in the afternoons. Its temperature ranges between 45 to 50 degrees centigrade and it often causes sunstroke to people who are exposed to it. So, it has a severe drying effect on vegetation, leading to widespread browning in the areas affected by it during the months of May and June. The next type of wind is Fohn or Fohn. It is a strong, warm wind which develops on the leeward side of the Alps. Due to the regional pressure difference, air is forced to cross the barrier. As you can see in this slide, the air rises up. So the rain shadow area over here is the leeward side. So as the air ascends the southern slopes of the Alps, it expands and cools. Condensation takes place when the air is saturated because as the air rises, it cools and thus condensation takes place causing rain and snowfall on the higher slopes. After giving rainfall or snow, when the air descends on the leeward side, the side where the wind ascends, that is the windward side, and the side where the wind descends down after shedding its moisture, that is referred to as the rain shadow or the leeward side. So on descending, what happens is the wind experiences an increase in pressure and temperature, because as the altitude decreases, the temperature increases. Due to this, the air is compressed and it becomes warm. Most of its moisture is lost and it reaches the valley bottom as a dry, hot wind called the foehn. The temperature of the wind ranges between 15 to 20 degrees centigrade. The wind is of use for melting snow and it hastens the ripening of grapes. Just like the foehn, there is another local wind which blows down the leeward slopes of the Rockies called the Chinook. In the language of Red Indians, the word Chinook means the snow eater. So, this wind, as it moves down the western slopes of the Rockies, they result in the melting of the snow. It is beneficial to the ranches east of the Rockies as it keeps the grasslands clear from the snow. During the springtime, the Chinook wind can cause a sudden rise in temperature by as much as 22 degrees centigrade in just about 3 hours. So, as I told you, it is derived from the Red Indian word, which means the snow eater, because it causes melting of the snow. Now, the last type of wind is the Mistral. The wind which blows from the Alps over France towards the Mediterranean Sea through the Rhone Valley is known as the Mistral. When it is funneled down the Rhone Valley, it becomes very cold and dry and blows at a very high speed of over 60 kilometers per hour. It reduces the temperature to below freezing point and it is generally experienced during the winter season. So, due to its high speed and low temperature, orchards and gardens have to be protected from it by thick hedges of cypress trees. Many small houses have their doors and windows only on the southeastern side. So, even though the skies are clear, the mistral brings down the temperature below the freezing point.